burned up my capital.
All right, well, we're back here on McDuff Channel. It's McDuff 2020, and we are now on a new stream. So, folks, if you are seeing this new stream, please let people know on the old one that this one is started. And we have now added a fourth member to our motley crew tonight. Mr. George Webb is here. So, good evening. George, how are you doing, man?
Well, I wanted to say hi to Mark Kulak. I ran through several police blockades to say hi to Mark.
Thanks, George.
Hi, you're doing such great work on this Rona guy and all this defense tech and how these, I don't know if they're British agents or whatever that the bars put into this Bremerton Navy base out there with the Gateses. But I always had a lot of questions about what the Gateses were doing out there at the Navy base out there on Puget Sound. And Mark is just doing some incredible stuff. And I just, connecting the Ronas and the basic programming language and all this stuff, it's just, if you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out. It's just incredible deep dive stuff that I love. And Mark, I just want to say kudos to you.
Oh, thank you. So, I can't get through this book. It's too boring. Written by Thomas P. Rona. It's 1982, 83. It's called Our Changing Geopolitical Premises. I'm actually just going to throw a possibility out there that Rona might have been a ghostwriter for Kissinger in a couple books. I think that's a possibility, but I would need someone to study it. He's a remarkably well-written person for. Anyways, it's interesting for a tech guy. Then it's always only one name on the patents, which is again a weird thing. Most engineers, most tech people, there's multiple names on a patent. My two patents have multiple names on them, so we'll see about it. We'll see about it. But thank you for the shout outs, George. I appreciate it.
Well, I think anybody who's watched it, Mark, and anybody who's watched your series, the thing they appreciate so much is you have so much fact and you have so much, you just put the articles up there from newspapers.com. You show your research all along the way. You're so methodical. You cross every T, you dot every I. And the connections you come up with are just so incredible. And if you haven't checked out Mark's series, you can get lost. And over this Christmas holiday, you're going to just be looking at relatives you hate. Just sneak away and watch.
Looking, not being with.
Yeah, right. Sneak away and watch these series that both Bill Taylor and Mark do on these deep dives. They're incredible.
I think Bill may agree with this as well. Sometimes it's when you're doing the organizing, you're dotting the I's, crossing the T's, doing the really boring, methodical, drawing the lines, that something will pop out. Where if you weren't being methodical and doing that, the hundreds of hours, that maybe thousands, you notice little things. Like, I didn't notice this person. I didn't notice there's a date over here on this thing. And then in some cases, the absence of information can actually help you focus on things, little pieces of metadata that otherwise you would have completely, paid no mind to. But in some cases, when you're only given a few clues, you really need to focus on all of them. So in some cases, having less information to go with is in and of itself good. Clues can help you do better research, and it can also help indicate where you should do more research. As I've said on a show I did last night, if I look at Bill William Barr's resume, which is or Wikipedia page, which is 18 pages, not including the footnotes, and only 2 sentences of one paragraph is half of his career, there's already 100 people who have written 1,000 books on everything else. I want to focus on what other people haven't looked at, because I can't get up to speed on the other stuff. So I know I can add value there. And I think Bill's the same way. I'll let Bill talk now, but you let that guide where you're going to focus your attention, and it's amazing the stuff you'll find.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the areas where the sort of the black hats or the bad guys mess up is when the information doesn't jive across different sources. Like, I was looking at this family from Louisiana, the Prudhomme family, and a couple of the genealogy websites have. It's almost like somebody went in there and started messing with the orders of grandfathers and fathers and uncles. And compared to some also, compared against another source for family names, which was in the University of North Carolina archives, one or the other, it's almost like they've been played with, trying to obscure some sort of origin of this family, and of course it leads to actually wrote about it and published it today. It was the Prudhomme family, two different. I call them the Belgian banker Prudhommes and Louisiana blue-collar Prudhommes. They don't seem related, at least not in the past 500 years, but they certainly do have some things in common with the Rothschild family. The Belgians were working for the Rothschild interests in Belgium during World War I. The Prudhommes were collateralizing cotton bonds in the Civil War for the Rothschilds. So whether they, and I believe that they've crossed paths in other places such as Bangor, Maine, and Bar Harbor, Maine. But the idea is that the broader idea is that you see patterns emerge. Familiar names show up in around arcane or nefarious type businesses, such as the trade for the Prudhommes or the propaganda type weapons trade for the Prudhommes of Belgium. Other patterns. I posted a couple times. Shipping containers keep popping up in strange places, which is it's a couple of investments in the shipping container business by white Russian families back in the 60s, and then I see the Murphy Snyder family. Snyder is the maiden name of Tammy Murphy. Their family business really started booming once they started moving shipping containers to the port of Norfolk in the 1950s, or in the 1960s rather. So you see sort of these businesses which probably we don't think much of now, but they were sort of might have gotten their funding by making sure they had a very profitable cargo online in the hold when they first got started, so they went to fund it with somebody else's money or fund it with their own money. But you see that in shipping containers, which is just a very boring industry now, but it was pretty exciting in the 60s. Same thing with the cotton, which I ran across another Gibson Islander whose father-in-law got started in the New York Cotton Exchange, which is where the main cotton brokering business moved to after the Civil War. So
absolutely,
these strange connections between seemingly boring, unrelated industries and the names as well.
Well, Bill, I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to hijack your show, but I'm a big fan here, and so I'm fan gushing because
Sure.
Bill has come down here to Mystery Island, and the work Bill has done on Gibson Island. If you don't go to his website, the website is
D-State Analytics.
D-State Analytics, and just check out all the stuff, all the connections he's made, and then you put these two guys together. It's peanut butter and jelly. I mean, these guys, just check it out, subscribe, Patreon them, because this is the beauty. I'm telling you right here, John, I had to come over here and crash your party because this is the juice right here. This is where citizen journalism is all coming together right here.
And you could have gone down to Mar-a-Lago and hung out with the president's family and but you came here because you knew this is where it's happening. Well, George Webb, it's so great. We're honored to have you. Yeah. Well, guys, what I was going to get to was a kind of a pointed question. I want to know your opinion. In your state, are you going to be facing mandatory inoculations?
New Jersey, definitely. So I already know my sister-in-law is a teacher, and she says she'll be fired if she doesn't take the inoculation. My kids don't go to public school anymore, so we probably dodged at least the first round of mandatories, and then we'll have to leave the state. We go to the second round.
Wow.
They start making Catholic schools
Mark?
mandatory.
Most likely. Myself, my wife probably, because of her history with Lyme, might be able to get an exemption. And I've had it too, but I'm not working corporate right now. She is, but because of the when you have Lyme or chronic Lyme, that tends to create chemical sensitivities, which again, if you have chronic fatigue, your body's immune system is not as strong as it would be, which also means that when you walk into rooms full of bleach and Glade air cleaners, you can't process that as well as some other people do. It's a syndrome called being like a canary in a coal mine, where you'll start feeling sick where everyone else just thinks, oh, this stuff smells nice. So I think we'll be able to dodge it. I have other family members who are nurses. They're not too happy about it. There's not a lot of people who are like, yeah, let's vaccinate me. We'll see what happens. We're not gonna accept it. But at some point, they're not going to be able to come door to door and do it. I think that's a worst case scenario. My concern right now is there's so many people who don't believe that's going to happen. I think that's the biggest, that they'll be saved somehow from this. And until that goes away, this threat is still going to be there.
Well, this is my point, I think, is that when we speak to how can we make things better, how can we improve things, it's got to be at the local level. And you guys have mentioned, that each of you thinks that we've got to get out there and talk to people. On the other hand, you run into this incredible social pressure that has also been engineered, with clever marketing and media promotion and fear tactics to make it impossible for you to still function in your community without being shamed. It's like, Hester Prynne and the Scarlet Letter. George, what you've been down in Georgia and down south? Is it different? Do you think that they're going to be forcing people to take these vaccinations, say in Georgia or Florida, where you've been studying?
Well, I've been down there 3 weeks, and I don't think right now that's the case. I don't, nobody's wearing masks too much going to the restaurants and stuff the last 3 weeks. And it is way different. Even coming into Maryland and Virginia today, it's very different. So you guys are really sending me a wake-up call. And I do think people are going to be migrating south. They say that virus can't live past 45 or 50 degrees. And I don't know. This is a crazy world we're living in, but it's kind of having this 1984 shadow is coming on us. And Paul Cottrell talks about the BioPatriot Act. This is like, 911 was the front bookend with the Patriot Act, and now this is the BioPatriot Act to add all the things they couldn't get the last time. So I don't know. That's my feeling is they're hitting hard here with the BioPatriot.
People who move to those southern states will be rewarded with more freedoms and less requirements, and I think that's the plan right now. Texas, Louisiana, Florida. Georgia's interesting with the situation they're in. I have no idea. But South Carolina, you're going to get more freedoms. You're going to get less harassment, less masks, etc. Possibly more opportunity to choose what one would do for a vaccine. Yes, it's definitely, it feels as though it's being set up intentionally to drive people in a certain direction. And I'm not liking it, but that's just my own observation. But look, I'm pretty Housatonic. How many generations on the Housatonic River? I can't leave New England. I'm going down with the ship, baby. You know, it is what it is.
I would just say, you know, it's almost when we were off air, Hus and I were talking about, you know, all the businesses living in New York City, with Goldman Sachs looking at Florida, or maybe it's Texas. FINRA is looking at the southern states. These people in New Jersey seem to think that, you know, they're going to have jobs here. There'll be no reason to stay at all. They're staying now because they have a job in New York City that pays them enough to allow them to live in the Jersey burbs. But it can easily just leave. You know, if these jobs go south too, these people have to follow. You know, I don't know what the end game is for the Murphy and the Cuomo types. If they just think they're going to have a bunch of government employees, you know, the state government is still the largest employer. Is the plan just to have one big government employer? You know, even because even these deep state type private firms like Goldman Sachs, you know, they're going to leave too, and you know, all the financial industry in New York City, you know, they'll leave. So I don't. That's why it seems like such a crazy, not well thought out plan, and it leads me to believe there is hope if it was not well thought out and they had to try to do things on the run, because nobody's going to be here. I mean, you can be governor of New Jersey for the next 50 years, but nobody's going to be here to go. You know, nobody's going to be here to govern. You know.
Don't you think it's all headed towards the guaranteed income, where everybody's going to get, say, you know, $1,000 a month or something, and then it won't matter if you have a job. You don't need a job, you know, and everybody's going to be kind of just allowed to just lower their expectations. You know, you won't own anything, and you'll be happy. That's the pitch from the World Economic Forum. You won't own anything, so you won't have to bother with, you know, taking care of stuff anymore. But if you need something, you can rent it. You know, just call up, you know, Acme Rental and say, I need a motorcycle for the weekend, and they'll rent it to you. You don't need to own one anymore. That's what we're talking about with this the new economy. The transformation is really the transformation to a non-entrepreneurial economy, an economy in which it really does become the state provides everything, or the cartel, you know, the cartel of supernatural national corporations will provide you with what you need. And just like with YouTube itself, which I've been, you know, we've all had our experiences, especially George, my God. But they just set their rules, and you can't go to court. You can't challenge it. It's their rules. That's where we're headed, that people are not going to have the right to go to a trial. You're not going to have any rights. You're going to have to just take what they give you. That is their ideal world, because they're going to be going up while all the rest of us are going down. As you know, that K curve that we talked about the other day, George, the K curve is coming. Unless we stand up, and that's why I say right now we got to get up, we got to stand up, and we got to fight, or else, gosh, I don't know what else to say except for this is it, George. Yeah. This is the time.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'll let you guys respond to that, but I'll just say that the Bob Marley thing with stand up for your rights, is a good watchword, because it does feel like this is slipping through our fingers. The Republic is slipping through our fingers. We have to do something right now. If not right now, then it just slips through our fingers, and then we live in this new world, the rental world, or whatever John is describing. I think is a real world that we could be in.
Well, Mark Kulak, I know you've got to go right at the hour, and I thank you so much for your patience, because I lost the Skype for a few minutes, but looks like most people have picked up on the new stream here. So let's let you give us your whatever you want to say while we wrap up the show.
Well, look, in all honesty, if it was implemented properly and
Oh no. We lost it again. Well, guys, I guess that's fate for tonight. We've been having Skype problems, and we just lost our Skype connection with Bill Taylor and Mark Kulak. So we will say good night to Bill and Mark, and bring George back up for a last word or two.
John, thank you so much for doing what you do, and all I can say is you're doing great things. It's what you are, the citizen journalism that is going to save us. There's more of us than there are of them. We have so many great, intelligent people like Mark and Bill and John. This is the answer. I believe it in my heart. I wouldn't have put all my money and soul into this if I didn't think this was the answer. This is the answer. And I think we're winning. Even if Biden and all the thing and they get the fake thing, I think this still wins. I think what we're doing right now still wins. That's just my last word.
Well, there's a lot of days between now and January 20th, so in each one of them, it could turn around. So let's be positive and have faith in the future. Bill Taylor, Mark Kulak, thanks very, very much for all you do, and thanks for being with us tonight, everybody. And we will leave you with the Ospreys.